Guys, welcome back to Precision Rifle Network, the Game Changer barricade bag. Now, this is aptly named, don't you think? Because when this came out, and I've been using it, not this particular one, I have a Gen 1 original that I typically use, but this thing, when it came out, changed the game of precision rifle series style competitions. I think most people would agree. This type of bag, this one in particular, Clifton Reeser's design was the first, and many followed after it, right? Today, the video is all about the various different ways of using a game changer on all the different types of props that you find at PRS style ranges and in competitions. So stay tuned for this one. All right, guys, first one I'm going to start with here is this rock. Now, obviously every rock is different because it wasn't created by man, it was created by God, and so it's got all kinds of variation and different features in it. And this one is no different, except that generally speaking, it's flat on top, right? It's got a slight angle, but we know that with the Game Changer, we can adjust the sand inside the fill in order to take that up and basically make this a flat surface. Now, the Game Changer was kind of designed to sit on objects kind of like this. I'll show you on a rooftop kind of the exact way that this thing was designed, but on a flat surface, the best way to get this is to get the most surface area possible, and that means tilting it on its side. So we're going to lay it on its side up here at whatever position that we want, whether it's, you know, seated or kneeling or standing, doesn't matter. It's whatever is most comfortable for us and we can maintain proper fundamentals. So for me, this is going to be the way that I want to do it, is right up on here. And then when I place my rifle down pointed at the target, I'm going to place it on the balance point of the rifle, and I'm going to work that in a little bit just to make sure I've got a nice flat surface. You want to make sure your rifle has good contact all the way along the bag as best you can. We'll see if we get an impact there. I've got a probably 7 to 9 mile per hour switching wind from behind me. I could call it at a 5 o'clock, I could call it at a 7 o'clock. My estimation is that I'm just going to hold straight up in the middle of the target, and the plate that I've got out there is going to be big enough to soak that up. So see if we get our first round impact here. Good impact. We were just slightly right. All right, guys. So things like this spool are a little different. I'm going to get a couple different positions off of this for you, but the first one, the most obvious, is off of the top ledge here. Now, you can't exactly create a perfectly flat surface on this just the way that it's shaped. You might be tempted to actually take the bag across the middle where my hand is here and lay it across this like this. There's nothing wrong with that if you can get it to lay flat and not tip. But what I've noticed is that's less surface area, number one. If it's all you got, use it. But that's less surface area. Like, right, your bag won't move as much, but less surface area is less surface area. So you really just want to try a couple of different ways to get the flattest surface with the most surface area that you can. So you could take a shot from here like this, or you could lay the bag on its side again, up on the peak of this, and I think you'll probably find the best kind of flattest position. The thing that you have to be careful of here is canting side to side. You got to make sure that it is centered and that you can still maintain proper fundamentals. Now, this is going to be too high for me to maintain perfectly squared up behind the rifle fundamentals, but it's going to be my best option, I feel. So this is where I would take this shot from. I'm going to get the trigger cam rolling. We'll see if I get this impact. I can get it after all. It is about high enough. So see if we can get this impact. Same target. Impact. Okay, when we're talking about shooting off of the center of one of these spools, there's really no definitive right way. Typically, if you are left-handed, you want to slide up to the left-hand side. And if you're right-handed, you want to slide up, I'm sorry, the other way around. If you're right-handed, you want to slide up to the left-hand side because you still want to be able to manipulate your bolt. If you're left-handed, you want to slide up to the right-hand side because you'll manipulate your bolt out into space here. again, lay the game changer on its side, okay? And I'm sliding it up against the side so that I can kind of immobilize the bag and the gun a little bit better by utilizing the side. Now I'm gonna switch it over here so that you guys can see it better. My son is the way that I've got my shot set up. So I'm gonna slide it over to the side here, mount my rifle on it in the good balance point. Wherever I need it. So back here, when my hand comes around, I'm gonna be able to brace my wrist and my arm in against this part of the barricade and the rifle, helping to immobilize this thing. So let's see if we can get our shot here. All right, so I'm leaning my entire upper body, my shoulder up against this side of the barrel, completely immobilizing my body movement. You should be able to see that that's a pretty stable shot through there. Now we can barely see the target because of the grass, but let's see if we get it here. Good impact. All right, next one. All right, guys, so I've already got this shot set up. Obviously, if you can get away with it, always try to have front and rear support. If the barricade supports it, try to use it that way. So in this sense, I just went ahead and adjusted my bipod there. I had to come out 2 lengths or 2 notches on my left side to take up for the angle of the tire. But in this case, I'm just using my game changer as a rear bag. And I will manipulate it back here to adjust for my height. Simple as that. Let's see if we get our shot. I'm leaning into the barricade with my whole body. Try to immobilize my body a little bit. I had to change the position of the bag to the deep crevice back here so that I could get a little bit lower elevation on the back, a little more elevation on the front. All right, here we go. Good impact. Now guys, if the stage called for it and you couldn't use bipods for whatever reason, again, this is mostly a flat surface. So just pick a nice firm flat surface, stretch your bag out, make yourself that nice flat platform. Based on the other ones we've already done, you understand what you're supposed to do here, right? So again, you just position it, find your target, point your rifle to your target, make sure you work it in and get it nice and flat. Good shooting position just like that. You can maintain proper fundamentals behind the rifle. All right, let's move to the next one. Ooh, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to see all that, see that target with all that grass or not. I better check and see first. But you guys can see how I'm setting this up. If I have a choice to incorporate these angles and this bar, that's gonna give me a more stable platform. If I have to shoot just out here in space, then just put the game changer on it so that it grips. Do your best. It's gonna wobble a little bit, but that's where your rear support comes in. In many matches, you can pull in a tripod and use it as rear support. Highly recommend that. But for now, I'm gonna see if I can even see this down here. Nope, no shot, guys. Let me see if I use the end over here, if I've got a shot. So now you see, it's wobbly. It wants to bulge in the middle. It's not the best, but you got to make do. Let me see if I've got a shot here. So I'm not gonna be able to take a shot from this position, guys, because there's too much grass. I don't have sight of that target or any other target for that matter. The grass is just too high. So hopefully that'll suffice on this one just to show you what you can do. If you can work it to keep your bag from bulging in the middle and from tilting front to back, sometimes that's not possible. And sometimes if it's too wobbly, that's where you might have to bring in a rear support like a tripod or something like that. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, guys, so on something like this, it's got these different angles and steps. You just kind of hope that your magazine's gonna clear underneath, that the back of the rifle's gonna clear, and you'll be able to just utilize your bag in such a way. Now, this has that angled shape that I was talking about that the barricade bag itself kind of is designed for. So I literally just kind of splayed that out there utilizing that shape, bunching the bag up so that I've got a nice flat platform, working it in there. Let's take our shot, and then I'll show you a couple other positions here that might get thrown at you. Okay, so this is what I was wondering about. I actually need more elevation on the front of the rifle, but I can't because the back of this is here. So in this case, we're gonna have to switch to running bipod on the front and using the bag on the back potentially. I haven't shot off of this, so I didn't really know how to run it. I was hoping I would clear, but since I didn't, let's adapt. Let's see if I can get it there, or how high I have to get it in order to make this shot. Okay, there we go. So again, squared up behind the rifle, upper body is positioned, laying against the trailer, so that's immobilized. We've got our cant adjusted good enough for this distance. It's not perfect. By extending a bipod leg, everything else clears. I'm recording, we should be able to take our shot. Good impact. And that piece of brass is lost forever. All right, let me show you a couple other ones on here. All right, the next obvious kind of position that a match director would throw you into is shooting off of this gate back here. Now, if you can utilize an end piece where it's wider than the middle, I would do that. So we're gonna lay the bag across there, making the flattest, nicest position that we can. Make a channel for the rifle. Point the rifle to the target and our body aligned with the rifle. Find our target. Good impact. Always look for that balance point, guys. I don't know if I said it earlier or not, but you want your bag to be on the balance point. This is the same thing as shooting off of tripods. Like, we always want it to be on the balance point of the rifle like this. It's just where it's kind of sits the most evenly. Obviously, I could shoot it from here without even manipulating it if I wanted to free recoil it, and it would work just fine. Whereas if it's off the balance point, you got to get more body into it in order to keep the rifle where it needs to be, if that makes sense. So just a little tip there. All right, let's move on to another barricade. All right, so something like this kind of a barricade wall that's got different sizes and shapes of ports can be a little challenging, especially if your bag ends up being too big. This is why companies sell smaller versions of the bags in case you run into a spot that just simply won't fit your bag, your rifle, and your optic. Now we're gonna get away with it, I think, on all of these. Rude. So the way that you have to approach these is very carefully. So you can see how I had to get that out of there. But again, I'm gonna treat this like a flat surface. I'm gonna lay that bag on its side, make myself a nice flat spot. Be aware of your muzzle control as you're going into these. And I'm gonna tip the rifle sideways, and I'm gonna come into the position, stand it up, and then we're gonna take our shot. And of course, this should be the right height for me to get down behind it. I'm gonna disappear for a second, but you guys get the idea. All right, here we go. Rifle to target, body to rifle. Good impact. Comprende? It's really pretty much that simple. I'm gonna move just to the very next one to show you the process again, just because I'm curious about the little diamond. So again, tipping the rifle, muzzle control, taking my bag on its side here. Actually, on this one, it's gonna be better to splay the bag out. That was what I was curious about. Because of the angles, it ends up being a better idea. It locks in tighter to actually splay the bag out. But also, I think I've got less space. So let's see what happens. Now we're gonna be okay. All right, let's find our target. Good impact. All right, guys, so these little guys, depending on how they're set up, suck all the way around because they're super slippery. And if your target happens to be directly in line with the way that the pipes are facing, then a bipod front and bag rear is great. Now, if you've got something that splays out wider, bigger, that can go along outside the outside edges of this type of outside diameter, like the MDT SkyPod might work that way, to where you could adjust it to go out along the outside edges and put that on there and then tip the direction that you needed to go. That might be a really good option. But in this particular case, I think the best way to treat it is just with a barricade bag out here on the back edge. All right, now these guys might do something like having you shoot off the top, having you shoot down through the middles. I would treat these all basically the exact same way. I'm not going to use my bipod at all. I'm going to create a flat position. I'm going to point my rifle to target. I'm going to favor slightly left now, just with the direction I'm firing. Take one more and see if I can keep from sliding off target quite so bad for you guys. But I did hit. Yeah. We're hitting, everything's still centered up, but for whatever reason on this position, when I fire, I'm dipping down. I'm not quite sure why that is. That's a me issue on my fundamentals, but I'll come back and play with it later. At any rate, we got the impact. Let's move on to our next barricade. Okay guys, I moved positions a bit, so I've got a new target. This one is at about 340 yards. Well, it's in grass out in the middle of the field. There's trees behind it. I think I'm ranging 420 off the trees and 340 off the target. This could be a big old whiffer. We'll see. But a rooftop is almost surely the reason that this bag was designed with this notch in the middle. Basically just match up the shape of the bag notch with the shape of the rooftop. Make your nice flat surface. Create your position and get down in here behind it however you can. This is actually not good with this bar here. Maybe I can get my knees against that bar and not die. Oh, that hurts. All right. So this is a problem. Let me go down to here. Actually, I might just, no. I'm figuring this one out as I go. All right, let's see if we can get this one done. I'm leaning more than I would like, but here's my target. Ooh, this one sucks. I'm backing my shoulder out a little bit so that I'm not leaning so much body into this thing. Good impact. I'm gonna fire another one. There, we're centered up. Okay, so you get the idea. This bar is the crux of the problem. That's the thing you have to work out. It's not the other position at all. All right, let's move on. This barricade, with respect to the gamechanger, everything is a really narrow metal surface. This one here and here is a little bit wider. Some of these other ones are a little bit wider. They've welded bars onto the back of here to give it just a little bit more width. It's still not ideal, but it's better than it being like these super thin spots like over here. But again, we're just going to utilize the barricade bag in the same way. It was designed to be splayed over the top of something here. It doesn't make any sense to lay it on its side this way. It ends up not really locking in the way that it should. So again, get your fill kind of balanced and even. Get it onto your position. We're going to make a channel for that rifle the best we can in the direction of our target. Then we're going to introduce the rifle to the problem. New target that's roughly 380. Got our dope dialed on. Find that balance point. I'm going to point the rifle to the target, which I think is roughly there. And we're going to bring our body in and address the target. Let's see if I'm close as I bring it up. Yep, there it is, that circle right there. Oh, that's got a hole in the middle of it. That's going to be interesting. I thought that was just paint. Well, we'll see if I hit it. I'm going to hold a little high on it and center. Mirage is going right to left. I'm going to favor right. Good impact on the corner. That was right where I was holding. Let's fire one more. There we go. Hit right on the edge of that opening. You guys see that or not? That's crazy. That's an interesting target. I don't like it, but I got the impact. So, all right, guys. Last position, new target. This one's at 405 yards. Off of the car here. So I know right away I've got enough space to use front and rear support, right? So this problem, unless they tell you you can't use your bipod, the barricade bag is just going to become your rear bag. Or if you carry a separate rear bag, just do that. But I find that the gamechanger works pretty well in a pinch as a rear bag. So I know because of the curve of the trunk here that I had to extend my bipods just ever so slightly in order to get enough room down there. Let's get our rifle pointed to the target. There we are. The wind problem is, yep, still the same. We're going to hold straight up. Let's get another one on there. I am slightly canted to the right, so that made my shot go right. Let's see if we can center her back up. Yeah, there it went left side. So, you know, whatever. Switchy winds, not my friend. Got our impacts. It would be the same problem off the top if you could reach, or you might just choose to lay your barricade bag on its side, right on the edge, and stand here like this. It's up to you. Some people will put their bipods all the way up and try to immobilize their body against the car. Doesn't matter how you want to do it, as long as you know that you can work your fundamentals and work the problem in a good way. So there you have it, guys. Hopefully you gained some kind of little piece of information on using the gamechanger bag. I'm surprised often when I go to matches and I still see guys kind of farting around with their gamechanger bags. Like, get out to the range where you've got some props or barricades, or heck, just pull stuff up out of your house, a chair or a ladder, build a barricade, go out in the forest and find a big rock or a tree limb, and practice the different ways that you're going to place your barricade bag onto the given barricade. Learn the ways that you can do it and the ways that makes it steady. And yeah, just put that practice in. But hopefully you got a tip here today. Make sure and check out our sponsors. Title sponsor is Arkin Optics. We've also got MK Machining, PRN10, Coltac PRN10, Axle Hearing Protection, using the X cores right here, PRN15 for 15% off over there. Thanks for watching today, guys. Tune in again soon for another great video from Precision Rifle Network.